Hello, we are FTC Team 16072, the Quantum Quacks, and this video is about robot inspection. Before competing, each FTC robot must be inspected by the referees. This video is an overview of the inspection process and the rules which must be followed to pass inspection. The inspection checklist is a summary of the high points of the competition manual. Robots are expected to follow all of the rules in the competition manual.
The first part of the inspection is robot inspection, also called tabletop inspection. In this part, you will bring your robot to the inspection table at your event. The robot inspector will ask you questions about your robot and ensure it meets all mechanical and electrical requirements.
The robot and all its mechanisms must be present at inspection. If your robot has multiple different configurations, you must bring those as well. Put your robot in its starting position and ensure that it fits within an 18-inch cube.
Tape a rectangle onto your floor or table which is 20 inches by 42 inches. Then choose a place for your robot within the rectangle. Expand your robot as far as it can go in all directions and make sure it never crosses the box. The robot may not move within the box.
This year's alliance markers are no longer required, and in their place are team signs. Signs are red or blue backgrounds with your team's number in white on top. A robot has two robot signs that are located on opposite or adjacent sides of the robot and visible to field staff from at least 12 feet away and meet requirements. You need two robot signs, red and blue, to signify which alliance you are a part of and your team number. Example, if you are part of the red alliance for one match, you would use the red robot sign and make sure there are no blue robot signs on your robot. Two signs must be on the robot. Locations must be on opposite or adjacent sides greater than or equal to 90 degrees apart. The robot plate has to be read horizontally and not have vertically placed numbers. The signs have to be made of robust material that can withstand the matches. The number plate can't be powered.
Robot does not contain any components that could harm people, damage the arena, or damage other robots. This includes sharp edges, protrusions, or hazards to the arena elements. You may not have anything on your robot that could be potentially dangerous to the field, humans, or other robots. Robot does not contain devices that generate sound at a level sufficient to be a distraction. You may not have anything on your robot that blasts sounds very loudly.
Your robot does not contain materials that are hazardous, like mercury, flammable, or hazardous materials.
Robot does not contain materials that would cause a delay of game if released. Examples are coffee beans. You may not have anything on your robot that would affect the game if released. Robot does not contain any closed air or hydraulic devices. Examples are gas springs, compressors, and vacuum generating devices. Air-filled pneumatic wheels are exempt from this rule. This rule prohibits the use of pre-made commercial off-the-shelf mechanisms that can perform multi-directional movements or solve game tasks independently. For example, an allowed mechanism to purchase would be a linear slide which extends along one axis, but an arm that can move in more than one plane would not be allowed.
Your robot cannot have any more than 8 motors and 12 servos. You must point these out to inspectors to make sure they are legal and only powered by approved sources. You cannot change or alter motors, servos, or other moving parts unless the rules specifically say you can. You can only use official approved parts to power and control motors, servos, or other moving parts on your robot. The competition manual details more electrical rules which go more in depth into requirements for the electrical portion of robot inspection. If your team plans to use custom circuitry or wiring, please review these rules in the competition manual and the inspection checklist. Exactly one main battery pack of an approved type is on the robot, and it is properly connected to the main power switch and securely mounted.
On your robot, there should be only one approved power switch that can control all the power from your battery and should be labeled. Other switches are allowed only if they're labeled secondary. Any commercial off-the-shelf USB batteries used on the robot are kept separate and do not share or connect their power with the robot's main power system. This ensures that the USB batteries operate independently and don't interfere with or rely on the robot's main electrical power supply. Fuses on the robot should only be replaced with fuses that have the same or lower electrical rating as originally specified or allowed. You cannot use fuses that have a higher rating, as they could allow too much current and cause damage or safety issues. Additionally, using self-resetting fuses are not allowed. If you're grounding electronics to the robot frame, the only approved methods are the REV or anti-mark resistive grounding strap and must be connected to fully COTS XT30 component. If you are using custom circuits, make sure they meet the guidelines specified in the competition manual as seen on the screen.
As you can see in the table in the video, your wires should have these minimum sizes. To make sure you follow this rule, your team should use wires with clearly labeled sizes if possible. If unlabeled wiring is used, your team should prepare to demonstrate that the wire used meets the requirements of this rule. For example, wire samples and evidence that they're the required size. All non-signal level wiring with the constant polarity, excluding outputs from motor controllers or sensors, must adhere to consistent color coding. This means using distinct colors for positive wires, which may include red, yellow, white, brown, or black with a white stripe, and for negative or common wires, which should be black or blue. Wires that are integrated into legal COTS devices or those provided by the manufacturer are considered part of the device and are therefore exempt from this color coding requirement. For safety reasons, it is essential that power and ground wires are colored according to standard conventions. For example, servo wires are typically red, black, and white, allowing us to easily identify their function based on their colors. Your robot must only be controlled by one robot controller, and this should be the only source of control for all your motors, servos, etc. This could either be a control hub or an allowed Android phone connected to an expansion hub. Your robot can also have no more than one additional expansion hub. You may only connect the allowed devices to USB. USB is for vision. You may use webcams and optical vision sensors that are supported by your robot controller, for example, a control hub. For example, LEDs and stereoscopic cameras are not allowed, but an example of allowed cameras are all UVC-compatible USB webcams. The only other allowed USB device is a REV expansion hub and a USB hub. You're allowed to have recording devices on your robot as long as they operate independently without needing to be connected to or controlled by other systems on the robot. These must be used only for non-functional viewing after matches, and wireless communication must be turned off.
This video is a summary of the inspection process. For more details, please read the full competition manual, which is linked in the description box below. Additionally, an official inspection checklist is linked below. Thank you for watching.